So thank you everybody for joining. We have a very simple but pretty exciting agenda today. First of all, happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating. The winter times are just a beautiful time and honestly my favorite season. So today the idea is for me to show you how to build a simple risk assessment agentic workflow. And you don't have to be familiar with Conductor or anything like that. The goal is to keep it pretty simple and pretty beginner friendly. We are excited about what we're doing. And so we want to show you this like awesome like platform and the tools that we're building. And um, the 2025 has been pretty big into agentic workflows, and I do find that there is like a big education need for agentic workflows, and we really hope to fill that education need. So any questions that you may have for future webinars, we're here to listen, and we'll be more than happy to make those happen. Um, so the agenda.
I'm just here to give Maria company. So my name is
Yes.
Amit. I lead marketing at Orkes. So the idea is that we keep this very casual, very conversational, so yeah, it's very interactive. So if you have any questions, the chat is open. So feel free to ping us directly on chat, and we're happy to take questions live
Yeah.
as the conversation continues.
And if all you want to do is like just hang out and have coffee, that's cool too. Or if you have any questions about Agentic, we're here for that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Amit. And I did introduce myself. I'm Maria. So I'm a content engineer at Orkes. So I write. You'll mainly see my name in the blogs, and that's where I hang out pretty much. And so if you have any ideas for something you want to learn, you can ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to take a look and build a blog around that. But so yeah, let's get started. I wanted to start with the agenda for today, which would be what. Okay, so first of all, let's go into what Conductor is, and then we can dive into the workflow and then any questions. But something exciting happened. I decided to sneak in a little preview. Now we are going to make a fuller, like better video, like more in-depth video on this exciting tool that we have built. But I did want to give you a sneak peek, kind of as like a holiday gift, um, just for people who attended today. And so, yeah, let's dive in. First of all, what Orkes Conductor is, we are a platform, honestly, to put it simply, we are a platform for building workflows. Any workflow that you can imagine, are here to help you build that. And you may like, we have like, it's like a hybrid way of building it. You can either you build it using only code if that's how you prefer to build, or you can build it almost entirely visually. We also support that as well. Recently, if you have been on our blogs, you will notice a lot of agentic workflows because people have been really interested in how to build agentic workflows, and I totally get that. That's where my mindset has been as well. But I do want to note that we're not only an agentic workflow building company, we support all kinds of workflows that you want to build. And yeah, so that's what Orkes Conductor is in a nutshell. Obviously, we would need a lot more time to explore all the capabilities and all the features we have. But I did want to give you an idea of what we do. Um, and now I did want to go into our developer edition of Conductor. Now, this is a free version that you can sign up today, right now, if you want to. If you don't want to listen to me, you can just sign up and make a workflow, or you can follow along. And so this is a developer edition of Conductor. Amit, if you can like link in the chat, that would be helpful. Like
Yeah.
a link, yeah, so people can like get the link of like developer edition. Um, and so the exciting feature that I wanted to give you a sneak preview of is this portion here. So if you see this, like, what do you want to build today? If you have used tools like V0 or Lovable, that will be very familiar to you. The idea is pretty much the same. You build a workflow using a prompt, and the way I like to think about this is like the why it's really helpful for me in building workflows is that um, when I start to build a workflow, I am actually I can actually give you an example of like the before and after. Okay, so if I click here, define workflow, this is what it looks like initially when you start to build a workflow without the assistant. So it'll be something like that. And oftentimes it's like really difficult to get started and like what is the first workflow you want to build? Like you have this cool idea of a workflow in your head, but then you don't know what tools are available or what tasks that we have. We have a lot of built-in tasks for you to use, but it's really difficult to get started. And even as a writer, I find that same problem when I'm writing and I open a Word document and I'm like, I don't know how to get started. What is the, I need something to get started. So that pretty much solves that issue. So what I can do here um, is I have a template, just like not a template, but like a prompt built up, and I pasted it. Let me know if you want this larger.
That's better.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, Amit. So the idea here is like build me a simple risk assessment workflow with the following steps. Now, to give you an idea of a risk assessment in loan origination, like when somebody is deciding to apply for a loan to a bank, they would often need to have this like risk assessment to decide like is this person a good person to give a loan to? Because you can just give out loans to everybody. And the problem is that if it's only like with people doing this, it can be really hard to scale that, especially if a lot of people are um, submitting loans. And there's now we're entering this like really difficult time of like bots being a part of like a lot of applications like bots on social media or like bots submitting applications. And so this is a really good way of like filtering out good applicants from like bots or people who, people who are like a good applicant and it's pretty clear that they're a good applicant and they don't need to go through like a whole big process. But there may be also people who are, who need a little more attention to their profile. And so, yeah, you would need this risk assessment, and you can put it into a workflow with Conductor or anything like that. So for this prompt, what I want to do is like I want to build that. I want to build that, and like how do I go about that? So I describe my steps just like I would describe to a human being or to a teammate. So I want a document classifier. So when you are submitting some sort of application for a loan, you would give paperwork, right? Like documentation, ID, like who you are, like pay stubs, perhaps different documents. So I want to have a workflow that will go over that, um, over those documents for me. So I don't have to do that, manually. And I put here in parentheses, I want it to be its own sub workflow. And I will explain the reason for that later as well. Then the risk assessment part, which will be an AI task. Now, AI is pretty cool for a lot of things that we're doing right now. And so I want this risk assessment part to be an AI task so that I can build an agentic workflow. And then after that, the workflow needs to make a decision on whether to process the loan or to send it to a human for approval. Some loans are maybe some applications are pretty simple and you send them straight to approval, and some just need a little more attention from a human being. Okay, so now when I press this, we are sent to our workflow builder. This is the view you would usually see when you are building a workflow, but with this cool new feature, you now have AI doing this for you. And again, this is not to replace somebody doing the entire workflow for you, but it's giving you a really cool jumping off point. So, if you are just stuck in the beginning process, this is a great like way to brainstorm, I guess, with this tool. At least that's how I've been using it.
And
And
this also, sorry to interject,
mhm,
but this also has context about your existing processes, right? So you can, for example, you can go today and build Orkes Conductor workflows on ChatGPT or on cloud, but
absolutely.
the different angle here is that this particular implementation has the context about your company, your department, your tools that you're using, and that's what makes it really powerful. And the first thing it does is it actually checks what it already has in the system, existing workflows, and then based on that, it builds the next workflow.
Yes, absolutely. And another huge benefit that I found of this is that it also knows what we have. So all the tools that we have, all of the like it knows just like the Orkes Conductor as a whole. So it's able to help you in that regard as well. So you don't have to go over a lot of documentation and figure out what kind of tasks should you use because, for example, gives you. One example that I see right here. Okay, so it's done. Um, and I'm not going to go over all of these things that it output because I think I just wanted to give you like a sneak peek of this really cool tool that we're so excited about. But I will go over something. So you can see that it built this visually for you. All I had to do was put in a prompt of what I wanted, and in like a minute or two, it outputted this for me. Um, and if I scroll up and I go to uh, this part here, where I say send it to a human for approval, it already, again, like I mentioned before, it knows tasks we have. So if I zoom in, for manual review, if it flags an application for manual review, it sends it to our human task, which is pretty cool. Because if you are just getting started with Conductor, you may not know that we have this task, or if you don't want to go over all the documentation. But this is a really cool way to also discover what we've got. Um, and yes, so here for the AI part, it picked the LLM Text Complete, which is an AI tool, an AI task that we have built in. And so yeah, I think Amit, if you have anything to add, we can move
Yeah,
on to
yeah.
the
No, I think this is just I think as Maria said, it's a new feature. But it's really reflecting the changing times that we're living in. Like the way we operate as human beings today is so much focused on GPT styled interfaces, right? So we're
right. Yeah.
getting very customized answers for what we are thinking about. And this is a reflection of that same mindset, right? So we are bringing in the similar GPT style experience to Orkes Conductor, where whatever you have in your mind has an idea for a workflow can be conceptualized very quickly in a very short period of time, and it can give you an iterative way to build the conversation. A couple of other things I'll talk about is that documentation, like it can also help you with creating like a really good document for your workflow that you can share with your other stakeholders in the company. And then secondly, also analysis of workflow. So yes, this can generate the workflow. You can iterate on it. You can make it better, but you can also ask questions about like, hey, what are the different parts of the workflow which are constrained or are creating more choke points in the execution flow. So it will also help you in that direction. So think about this like as a way of like whatever you have in your mind, like the cloud idea, right? Or the cloud advertising, just keep thinking. So it's 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 kind of bringing that mindset into Orkes Conductor with this feature.
Yeah. And again, like I said before, like we're very excited about it and like how we're going to end up using it. Um, so yeah, if you have any questions, let me know and we can answer them.
I've got a
Or if
question.
not,
Yeah,
we
we have a
can.
question from Navneet Pratap here, Maria, where he's asking, is it token based?
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, I know we use Claude on the back end for it.
Yeah, we're
Um,
using Cloud Sonnet in the
mhm.
backend. Um, uh, But yes, I think Navneet, we'll circle back with you on that topic. I think the answer is yes, but we'll circle back with you on if there are any limitations on that front.
Yes, and
You can also eventually bring in your own credentials, right? So there are some concerns about like, hey, this is a open instance of cloud, but eventually you can bring in your own cloud credentials as well, so that you are working with your instance of the LLM to generate these workflows for you.
right, yeah. But yeah, we'll also circle back on like the developer edition and what the limitations are with developer edition versus if you're using your own cluster or with the assistant as well. Um, so yeah, if there aren't any more questions, we'll move on to the risk assessment agentic workflow that I have built here. So if I get rid of this one. So like kind of like I mentioned before, risk assessment is part of like a whole agentic of a whole loan origination process. It's like a one step from the whole thing, and you can of course build a workflow for the entire loan origination process if you want to. The point of this is to show you like one step of that entire process and how you can build that using Conductor visually, or if you for some reason really love JSON, we can we also support building with JSON entirely as well. And actually, if you look at the UI here and you click on the code tab, you can see the entire workflow being built with JSON. And you can add a task here if you want to, or you can move on. And you can also build it visually by clicking on one of those like pluses. And here you can add any task that you want, all of the tasks that we have available. And if you don't see one here, you can click on more tasks. Um, so this is like an overview of what we offer and how we can like help you build these in a fun way and not in a frustrating way. So the first step would be like a sub workflow. And the reason why I wanted to add this as a sub workflow, which is the document classifier, is because oftentimes these workflows require a lot of steps and they can get really complicated. And this is where I found some workflows to be really helpful because what you can do is kind of like if you're thinking in code, you have your class or you have like your main function, and then within that you have your smaller functions that you can go into. So it makes it really easy to understand for a human being, um, because you don't want this entire workflow to be like, I guess, spaghetti workflow, and for it to be really complicated looking. So this makes it really easy to not only build on, but also makes it really simple to debug. Which, if if you're an enterprise and you're having problems with a workflow or anything like that, you can very quickly find out where the problem is. So if we go down a little bit more into this workflow and how it's like, moving down, we have the risk assessment. Now, this is a LLM, if I zoom in, LLM text complete. It's one of our built-in tasks that we have for agentic use. We also have chat complete, and there's a very cool article as well that I wrote about that if you were curious about the difference between the two. Um, and so what this determines is like how risky is this application, and do I need to send it to a human for review? So if it's true, do I need to send it to a human for review? Or if it looks like really good, you can just auto approve it, like process long. Oh, oops, sorry. You can just auto approve it all the way down here. Um, so it can make that decision automatically for you. You don't have to go through each individual application and say, this one needs to be a human to look after it. This one automatically approved. You have this workflow that does this for you. Um, Now, okay, so for the human approval, we have this step. Let me run this for you actually. Um, and let me go to,
Maria, can you see my text? Not text, my chat that's coming through the webinar?
I can see it, yes.
Okay, cool. So I also shared the blog that Maria wrote for this particular topic, so you can take a look at the blog, and the blog has a lot of details behind the
Mm,
scenes on how the workflow is structured too.
yes. So yeah, so to run this workflow, what I'll do is go to this run tab, and I actually have this pre-populated already. Again, also you can totally, like, if you're building this, you can also put your own UI. We have SDKs for that as well. But for this use case, I'm just going to put the parameters here programmatically. So I put my name, Maria S, birthday. For document URL, I am using a PDF, and I'll show you why. And you can see here IRS PDF. I'm just using a PDF for the example. It's like an um, income tax form. It's available online. Loan amount, I want $5,000, and term, I want it over like for like 3 months and repayment period. And here I can execute that. So that will run the workflow. And here, first of all, it's going into this sub workflow that we talked about. And this one is in progress. And you can see that it already very quickly resolved that, and it went to risk assessment. So here it's deciding, oh, does that need a human to look at it, or can we send it to just to approve the loan automatically? And if I scroll down, it's saying, oh wait, something is off here. A human needs to look at it. Now we can wait for this for the next 20 hours or more, and look, you keep buffering here. And the reason for that is because it's waiting for a human to say approve or deny this loan application. So the workflow is paused at this point. What you can do though is go to, if I can get your attention over here to the left side, human tasks. And when I click on one on it here, you can see you have a list of tasks assigned to people. And this one is the new one here. It's assigned and it's waiting for somebody to claim it. So I am the human being. I say, you know what? I'm going to work on this. I'm going to claim that task. I look at the information that I've been given, and let's say everything looks like good. The application looks fine. I approve it. And then I can also reject it if I want to. But for this example, I will approve it and click complete. Okay, so now that it's been approved, we can go back to workflow executions and go back to our last workflow. And this is where we were last time. So we were at this human stage last time, and I decided to approve it. So at this point, the switch is like, do you approve or do you deny this routing component? And I decide to approve it, so it goes to process loan. And so the loan is processed, people are happy and they get their money. But if I decided to reject the loan application, it would move to reject and terminate. And this is a very simple example. Now you can build on that, and you can send notifications to people and say, like, this is why your loan application was not approved or rejected, and or congratulations, it's approved. Or you can also add, like, you know what, we do reject, like, we do approve it, but maybe we want some like other documents, like things look good, we're not going to reject you, but we want some additional documentation from you. And you can also add that very easily in the workflow as well. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about this main workflow, and then I can jump into the sub workflow, which is the first step of this one. So yeah, I will go now into the sub workflow to show you that real quick, and yeah, and how we build that. So the sub workflow, entirely different workflow from scratch, and how you can connect it is like, you can build this workflow. This one, I talk a lot of my hands. So I build this workflow, and then you can say, you know what, this is a cool workflow. I want to plug it into this main workflow, and that's pretty much how it works. You can just plug it in. You can plug in a bunch of sub workflows if that's what you want to do. You can like have the next one be a sub workflow. If it's like a complicated, a complicated process, you can make that into a sub workflow as well. And so if I switch back this task, what it does this here is it takes the document that I pass into the workflow, and it checks like, hey, is this a PDF? Because what I'm looking for is a PDF. I want a PDF. So what it does is like, yes, like check like, yeah, is that a PDF? Like yes or no. And if it's not a PDF, it generates an error. But again, because you can build on this very easily, you can send a message to your user and be like, you know what? This is not a PDF. We only accept PDFs. Try again, and they can submit another document in PDF form, and this workflow will run again, and it'll check again, is this a PDF? Then we go into this task, if everything looks great and it's a PDF, into get document. Now, this is a built-in task that we offer for you, so you don't have to uh, build this from scratch. Like you don't have to code it up and like develop it yourself. We have that for you because it's a very common thing that people want and need to use. And what that does is it takes the PDF. So the media type, as you can see, is PDF. And using OCR, it extracts all the information that you can later on pass to other tasks in your workflow. So you can easily use any type of document, and you don't have to manually input, you know what, this is what their salary is, this is what their income was last year. This can do that for you, so you can extract the document, like the information for you, which is pretty very helpful. And then at the end, just classify using LLM, and it classifies what kind of document this is. And after this is done, because this is a sub workflow, after this is done, it jumps back to the main workflow. And so the output of the sub workflow is the output of this entire task. And what you can do um, on the next one that you built into it is you can say in risk assessment, you know what, give me the output of this sub workflow. Whatever this sub workflow decided, give me the output, and I'm going to work with that output. And that's pretty much what it really does. And that's like the really big benefit of sub workflows, because you have this entire process here, and you don't have to bog down your entire main workflow with that process. What you can do is say, you know what, this is its own process. I want to add it into my main process, and you can do that very simply using a sub workflow into your main workflow. And yeah, that's what we built for today to show you. Um, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or if Amit, you have any questions. But we're actually right on time. So if you have questions, we'll be happy to answer them. And yeah,
And
let
also,
me
if
go
you
back.
have like ID requests, or we'll be doing this weekly going forward,
Mm-hmm.
starting the new year. So if you're blocked in certain areas or places where you want us to dive into, we're happy to do like we pick topics and do this more. Based on your inputs as well, we can do an actual session covering that particular
Absolutely.
topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned before, also is like things Summit, but like I mentioned before, is like, there's this huge gap in like knowledge, and things are moving on pretty fast. And we spend a lot of like basically our whole days like learning about this stuff and building, and so we have all this knowledge, and it's pretty exciting to share that so that people um, learn about it as well. um,
The question
and
from Doug, Maria.
Mhm.
So Doug is asking, when running the workflow via an API input, do the documents have to be uploaded separately, or do they just get included in the body of the request?
um, you can for documents, you can include them in the body of the request, but what you can do is you would have to pick the right type of media format for that so that the task knows what it's looking for. Um, we also have an HTTP task for that as well, Doug, if that helps. So for any API input, you can use that one too. But if I go to the sub workflow in get document, here in the media type, I picked specifically PDF. So what this task right now is doing is it's expecting a PDF. And so if unless you specify another type of, document, it's going to look for PDF. So you can put HTML, you can put plain text or JSON. Um, yeah. But for this specific one, I think we put just the PDF. So if it's not a PDF, it catches a mistake pretty quickly.
So he's saying, I just want to confirm that the full context of the request can be passed in the run workflow API request.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can pass in anything, and also like I mentioned before, you can test it using our run tab, or you can also do it, visually if you're building a React app and you want to pass it as well. We have the SDKs for that as well. Actually, that's a really cool webinar that I want to do on entirely on like our SDKs and like how you
Mm.
can build, how you can connect your application to Conductor so you can run it end to end.
Yeah. What I like about this workflow is that it's got a combination of both agentic and non-agentic behavior, right? So there is, it's like, for example, in this sub workflow, you have an LLM, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily an agentic workflow, right? Because it's not changing the workflow context or the execute at runtime. It's still executing and then coming back with the response. And then when you go to the
Yeah,
main workflow, you actually have the agentic behavior in there because you have the LLM, you have the switch statement, and based on that, you can go in multiple directions based on the prompt that you're giving. So you have that nice flavor of, just a simple workflow and the agentic workflow in one view.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point because people like, do want to include AI into their processes, but they're really scared. And I totally get that because like, AI can be very unpredictable, and it looks like it will always have a level of unpredictability to it. So like you do need orchestration around that to be able to kind of rein it in, so you can use those benefits of like an agentic system, but without all the downsides that come with it. So you can add any sort of like, you know, catches, like errors handling in a workflow as well. Yeah.
Question from Priyanka. Would it be feasible to store the HTML content directly with an Orkes online task?
The HTML content directly. I mean, you can pass it into I mean, you can pass it either as a link, or you can also pass it like copy paste if you're thinking about HTML content. If you're talking about the inline. So for inline, thanks, Priyanka. Let me go to the inline. So for the inline, I don't. It's mainly JavaScript, so not the entire HTML process. This is like a more simple. You need a quick um, calculation or something like that to do. We do have, however, you can pass in, you can build your own service and add it into our workflows using a simple task that we have. And I think that might be what you're looking for. And yeah, if you are interested, we can also do a whole thing on that because that's actually pretty interesting as well. So we have these pre-built tasks, but we also have the option for you to say, you know what, hey, I have my own custom code um, that is not, built into work into Conductor, and you can also add that as its own separate task. For example, instead of using the inline, I can add simple worker task, and you can connect that to your like HTML content. You can say like you can run your HTML content or any other like long form code, and you can just simply add it to this simple task. Um, and yeah, using that you can also debug it. The inline is usually for like a smaller JavaScript style coding if you need to do some inline calculation or anything like that. Does that help with the question, Priyanka? Yeah,
Cool.
awesome. Thanks. So yeah, let me actually go back to this thing that I built for you guys. And again, happy holidays. I hope you liked it, and thank you for joining us today in the middle of your week. And we're very excited for next year as well. all the cool things we have coming up, and the new people that are joining and sharing their knowledge as well.
And Maureen, did we finalize the next coffee chat in January? What was the topic again? Do you remember? Let me look back to it.
We have pretty exciting stuff coming up. So for anyone curious about MCP, we
Yeah.
have that for you. You don't know what MCP is? That's totally cool. We're going to explain. We'll get you from, as people say, from hero to zero with MCP. And what else do we have? I really like the idea of us starting, just like, look, there's so much happening. Like, there's so much that happened this past year with Agentic. So I think a really cool event would be just like like a preview, like what happened, like what are the different terms that have been floating around, and like where do they all fit in into our tools and processes. Like we have MCPs, we have like agentic workflows, we have AI agents. Like it's so much stuff. And so I
Yeah.
definitely want to do one of those as well, like just like a simple overview, like what the tools are and everything,
I think the
what those
first one for
what those
January will
things mean.
Yeah, will be the MCP gateway demo. So we'll run through that. I think even Navneet is saying it's a good option to go with. Yeah, it's a
Hmm.
definitely a hot topic right now. Check out our website actually. We rolled out a new feature around MCP gateways. So if there are folks in this call who are looking into MCP servers, or kind of packaging, how to package internal APIs into MCP tools. Check out the gateway that we just released. I think you'll be surprised on how quickly you can turn any internal API or a workflow into a callable MCP tool. So yeah, check it out, and then we'll launch 2026 with that topic, and we'll do a deeper dive at that time.
Yes, and yeah, if you want to like stay in touch with like what we're doing, like you can follow us on LinkedIn because we're going to be posting everything that we're going to talk about on LinkedIn. So if you don't want to miss out on like an event or anything like that, let us know. Follow us on there, and we'll make sure to keep you all updated because we're very excited for it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, folks. I know it's a Thursday. Oh, it's a Wednesday. It feels
So
like a
Wednesday, yeah, it's the middle of the
Thursday
week.
for me.
Yeah,
But happy
it's
holidays,
almost.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
happy.
happy holidays. I was gonna say it's almost Thursday for me because it's like 9 p.m. here
That's
now.
true. It's almost Thursday for you, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Holly. We'll connect with you on LinkedIn. Thanks for your link there. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Bye.